Hello everybody, my name is Karryshh and welcome back to another recap video. If you remember, just a while ago I recapped Tsukisoi, Japanese creepy series. I recapped the first 5 episodes and today I'm back with part 2 of that series where we will dive into the last 4 episodes. They're creepy, interesting and scary, so make sure to watch the video till end. I really love this series and it is a must watch. But on top of that, if you're new to my channel, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up because it is free for you and it is something that can help me out a lot. So now sit back and relax as I recap Tsukisoi. So the first story is called Landlady. It starts with a woman named Goto who works at a call center, and as you can imagine, call center jobs are super hectic. Poor Goto was stressed out and lately her boss had been getting a ton of complaints about her. So today she gets seriously scolded, but in that scene she suddenly starts feeling this weird itch on her neck. Then frustrated, Goto blames her boss saying that he always assigns her the worst clients and because of that, she ends up losing her job. Now by the evening though, the itch on her neck had gotten a lot worse. Anyway, Goto heads home. She lives in this big old apartment building. The entire building is owned by an old woman, the landlady, who shows up today and reminds Goto that her rent is still pending. The pressure from the landlady just makes Goto's neck itch even more. Later, Goto goes out to throw out the trash and now you see there's this weird rule in this building. You're only allowed to take out the trash on Sundays, but today she breaks the rule and throws it anyway. Now when she gets back home, there's a loud banging on her door. It was the landlady and she yells at her, asking how dare she break the rule. Hearing that, Goto's neck itch even worse and now she has this gross patchy rash on her skin. She steps out to talk to the landlady, but the landlady has vanished and weirdly, all the trash she'd thrown out is now back at her doorstep. Later that day, Goto invites a friend over and her name is Megumi and she has psychic powers and you know that if you watch my videos. Anyway, the two of them are hanging out but at some point Megumi hears this knocking sound. Goto brushes it off and tells her to not pay attention. She says that there's this crazy old lady living next door who makes random noises. Then Megumi heads out to grab some dinner and while she's in the elevator, the landlady suddenly shows up. Megumi tries talking to her but the woman doesn't respond. Even after they reach the ground floor, she just stands there and she won't even get out of the elevator. That night, Goto casually tells Megumi that the landlady actually died a while ago and all the knocking and noises are from her spirit, which totally freaks Megumi out. But the next second, Goto laughs and says she was just messing with her. Still, according to Goto, she and the landlady are the only two people who live in this entire building. That's why the rent is so cheap. That night, it's time to sleep, but before Megumi gets into bed, she notices the TV is on. Suddenly, the screen starts glitching and that's when Megumi realizes something's off. She turns off the TV, but out of nowhere, she sees Goto standing behind her. However, when she quickly turns around, there was no one there. Now Megumi obviously gets up to check and she finds the front door wide open. Then she notices the door to the landlady's apartment is open too. So while looking for Goto, she ends up walking into the landlady's place, which was completely dark and creepy inside. She starts investigating and pretty soon she sees this demonic shadow. It just looks like a black figure at first, but then suddenly the shadow transforms into the demonic landlady who screams at Megumi and storms outside the apartment, locking the door behind her. Then, someone starts banging on the main door and when Megumi checks from inside the landlady's apartment, it was actually Goto standing outside. It means Goto had really been outside this whole time and she had now come to speak with the landlady. But instead she starts yelling at the landlady and says things like, "Leave me alone, you crazy old woman. Can't you even rest after dying?" Then Goto storms off and after all that, Megumi is completely shaken. She heads back to Goto's place and finds her just sitting there watching TV like nothing ever happened. Megumi tells her that she needs to move out but Goto refuses. because this place is cheap. The next day, Megumi goes back to home, but now she knows the truth. The truth actually is the landlady had died and she was murdered by Goto. Goto killed her so she wouldn't have to pay rent anymore, and that's why the landlady's spirit turned demonic and started haunting her. That's why Goto lost her job, and that's why her neck kept itching, because the landlady's ghost was trying to possess her so she can take her revenge. The second story is called The Judges, and it takes place when Megumi was still in college. Her love interest at the time was a guy named Yoshita, and during summer break, he took Megumi to the mountains to meet his mom, who lived in this huge villa alone. When Megumi meets her, she notices that Yoshita's mom is treating him like he is still a little kid. And somewhere between the hi and hellos, she quietly mumbles under her breath that a girl like Megumi isn't right for Yoshita. Now Megumi doesn't hear that though, and after that she and Yoshita head inside the house, but the moment Megumi steps in, her socks turn red. It's like some force didn't want her there, and on top of that, Yoshita's mom keeps staring at Megumi in a really creepy way. Once inside the house, Megumi finds out that there's a prayer room where all the ancestors' photos are kept. Yoshita's grandparents, great-grandparents, dad and sister, even the family dog, all of them were dead. The only two left in the family were Yoshita and his mom. But Megumi doesn't overthink it. It just seems like a regular, if slightly weird family. Later, Yoshita, his mom and Megumi sit down for tea and snacks, but through the kitchen window, we catch a quick glimpse of what looks like the ghost of Yoshita's great-grandmother. Then his mother brings over tea and some boiled eggs, but the egg Megumi gets is covered in mold. The moment she points it out, Yoshita's mom completely loses it. She snatches all the eggs, throws them away, and starts slamming her head on the table again and again, begging her ancestors for forgiveness. Yoshita tries to calm her down by reminding her about the chocolate cake in the cabinet, and just like that, she starts frantically digging through the cabinet like a crazy person. When Megumi offers to help, she snaps and she screams at her, telling her that she doesn't need any help. And then suddenly, we see an evil hand reaching out from behind the cabinet, and it ends up knocking a fancy plate down to the floor. Right after this, Yoshita's mother starts apologizing again, and then Megumi hears the voice of an old woman telling her that she's not right girl for Yoshita. After all this, Yoshita takes Megumi out of the room, but just before leaving, Megumi looks back and sees his mother completely evil and possessed. Anyway, Yoshita brings her to his room, where he plays this sweet song for her. But later, when Megumi goes to the bathroom, she's completely shaken, because in the kitchen, Yoshita's mother is cutting up some bizarre looking animal. That's when Megumi realizes she needs to leave, but the moment she mentions going home, his mother snaps. She gets furious and says that Megumi cannot leave without offering a prayer to the ancestors. Now Megumi had no choice but to go into the prayer room and pray to the ancestors. Yoshita leaves her there alone to grab something, and when Megumi is by herself, she starts hearing multiple ghostly voices, all repeating the same thing over and over again, that she is not a good girl for Yoshita. Megumi starts freaking out, and then out of nowhere, a pair of evil hands reaches out from behind her and terrifies her so badly that her entire core was shaken. Then Megumi sees that all the family portraits in the room had turned demonic. Megumi feels like that someone is standing right in front of her, so she grabs a white cloth from nearby and throws it in front of her, and then suddenly, under the cloth, Megumi catches the sight of an evil spirit. She now crawled toward her in the creepiest way possible, and Megumi ran for her life. However, the second she makes it out of the room, she freezes because Yoshita's mother was standing there, fully possessed and holding a knife, ready to unalive her. Megumi then screams her lungs out and runs for her life, escaping the house as soon as she can. Then from here, the scene goes 7 years later. Megumi gets a message from Yoshita he wanted to meet. Turns out he's got a new girlfriend now, and she comes along to meet Megumi too. While they're chatting, Yoshita steps away to get coffee, and his new girlfriend starts asking Megumi about his family and his past. It was pretty clear she's also met his mother, but before Megumi can say something, Yoshita returns. Then Megumi just casually says that Yoshita's mom is a nice lady, but right then, she hears the voice of the great-grandmother again, telling her that even now, she is still not the right girl for Yoshita. And we also get a glimpse of Yoshita's mother watching everything from a distance. So basically, the deal was Yoshita will only marry the girl who gets approved by his ancestors. Any other girl, they will definitely scare her away. And it seems like even Yoshita's mother was trapped in all of this mess, because every time something goes slightly wrong, she was forced to beg for forgiveness. And that's where the story ends. The third story is called Possession. It starts with Satsuko and her date, Nakagawa. This was their 5th date, and Nakagawa brings her a bottle of wine as an anniversary gift, which Satsuko finds a little weird. And right then, Satsuko's old friend Yumiko shows up at the bar and completely crashes their date. She tells Nakagawa that Satsuko invited her there, even though that was not true. But Satsuko just stays quiet and doesn't say anything. After that, Yumiko keeps manipulating Satsuko the whole time and pretty much ruins the entire date. She even flirts with Nakagawa, and in the end, she sends Satsuko home saying that she will take care of him. But after that night, Nakagawa completely disappears. A few days later, Satsuko tells Megumi about everything. At this point of Megumi's life, both of them were working at the same company. When Megumi sees Yumiko's photo, she gets this weird feeling like something is off about this woman. And just then, Yumiko shows up at the cafe too and again invites herself to sit with Satsuko. She then immediately invites Megumi to her house so Megumi can read her fortune. Of course, Megumi cannot say no here, but deep down, she knows tomorrow's not going to be a good day. The next day during lunch, Megumi asks Satsuko about Yumiko, because she suspects Yumiko might have had something to do with Nakagawa's disappearing. But according to Satsuko, Yumiko is a good person and Nakagawa is probably just busy or something. Actually, you see, back in school, Yumiko always helped Satsuko and was there for her no matter what. So Satsuko tells Megumi not to worry, because Yumiko is a good girl. That evening, both of them go to Yumiko's house, but even before stepping inside, Megumi sees a shadow in the window. Once they're in, Megumi notices a bunch of religious and psychic books around the house, and that's when it clicks. Yumiko was also a psychic just like her, but if that's the case, why did Yumiko really invite Megumi over? So then, Megumi and Satsuko start looking around the house while Yumiko goes into the kitchen and talks casually. She casually mentions that she has some special powers too, and that she uses her power to punish bad people. But then, Megumi spots a photo album with Nakagawa's name on it. She quietly picks it up, and when she opens it, she was completely shocked. The entire album is basically a detailed record of Nakagawa's life, which proves that Yumiko had been tracking him for a long time. But that's not even the craziest part. Turns out Nakagawa was actually a criminal who had changed his name. He had even gone to jail for secretly recording schoolgirls' videos. So maybe Yumiko had been watching him for this reason. Megumi shows the album to Satsuko and she was stunned too. Then, Megumi pretends she needs to use the bathroom but sneaks off to check the entire house. As she's heading upstairs, Satsuko joins her from behind. They find a room upstairs where everything was covered in tinfoil, because in Japan there's a belief that tinfoil wards off evil spirit. Inside that room, they find Nakagawa, and he was totally messed up. The whole place is covered in apology letters written by him. Nakagawa keeps saying sorry over and over again and smashing his head against the wall over and over again. Satsuko tries talking to him, but he doesn't respond, and then Yumiko walks in. Yumiko tells them that Nakagawa is repenting for his sins and that he won't be leaving until he is fully healed. Hearing this, Megumi tells Satsuko that they need to help him, but then something snaps inside Satsuko.
はい。お願いします。
She suddenly says that she needs to atone for her sins too, and then she walks into another similar room. Megumi panics and she runs away because she doesn't know what else to do. A few months later, we find out that Satsuko had quit her job after that day, and one day on Instagram, Megumi comes across a photo that almost makes her throw up. It was Nakagawa with both Satsuko and Yumiko by his side, and both of them were pregnant. That's when everything makes sense to Megumi. Actually, you see, Yumiko was actually an evil psychic who used her powers for wrong reasons, and when Yumiko met Megumi, her only goal was to prove that she was more powerful, like an indirect witch battle. That's why she had invited Megumi to her house in the first place. Now, whether Yumiko's real goal was to punish evil people or something else, that part was never made clear, but whatever it was, the whole experience left Megumi completely shaken. Now, the fourth story is called Snake Skin, and it starts with a group of school kids walking home when one of the boys sees a girl picking something off the road and taking it back to her house. Curious, he follows her. The girl's name is Miko, and he sees her just staring at something in her garden. Then the boy runs off to rejoin his friends, and from that point, the story follows Miko. Miko lives with her grandfather Takeshi, and their relationship is really strange. They don't like each other, they barely speak, and only eat store-bought food. One day, Miko accidentally drops her food and Takeshi starts cleaning up, but Miko picks up a piece of chicken and starts eating it. That pisses Takeshi off and he ends up pushing her to the ground. Miko then just glares at him in anger, but he is an abusive man, so he starts hitting her. That night, they both go to sleep. We see Miko lying in the storage room where she basically lives. Holding a photo of her mother, she sleeps because she misses her a lot. Her mother actually had left her years ago for some boyfriend. The next morning, Takeshi hands Miko a bag and tells her to go pack her things because her mother is coming to take her. Miko lights up. She was super happy today. Then that day, her mother shows up with her boyfriend and Miko secretly listens to their conversation. That's when she finds out the truth. Her mom only came to ask Takeshi for money because her boyfriend needed to pay off a debt. Of course, Takeshi doesn't like that and yells at her mother, forcing her to leave. As they drive off, Miko runs after the car, heartbroken that her mother abandoned her again. In the end, Miko was left alone and Takeshi comes up to her and coldly says that she can leave the house anytime she wants. He's never going to stop her. The next day, again some boys were walking home from the school and that same boy from before comes by and peeks into Miko's garden. This time, he sees her smashing something repeatedly with a rock, and after she walks away, the boy sneaks over to check and realizes that Miko had crushed a snake to death, probably the same one she picked up from the road at the beginning of the story. Just then, Takeshi shows up and the boy runs off. Takeshi then sees the dead snake and panics because killing a snake is considered a sin. Then that night, Miko starts feeling weird. Her hands begin itching and the skin of her hands started peeling off. A little while later, Miko wakes up. She then grabs a knife from the kitchen and walks towards Takeshi, ready to unalive him. But right before she can, her whole body goes weak and she collapses to the floor. Takeshi wakes up and finds her lying there and her arms were covered in rashes and boils. He freaks out and immediately the next day, without wasting time, he calls a witch doctor to the house. The doctor checks Miko's skin and tells him that she has been cursed by the spirit of the snake she killed in the garden. Her arm and shoulders were covered in rashes, and if the rashes on both arms join together, the curse will fully possess her and it will destroy their entire home. However, there is a way to stop it. For the next 30 days, Miko has to offer eggs to the curse and chants a specific spell. If she does this every day, the curse will lift after 30 days. But now the scene jumps ahead a few years. Miko is now grown up and she had called a psychic to her house to read her fortune. And that psychic is obviously Megumi. Miko tells Megumi that the spirit of that snake is still inside her, and she also admits that she never completed the ritual the doctor had told her to do. Then when Megumi starts reading Miko's chart, whatever she sees in there makes her extremely uncomfortable. She suddenly says that she needs to leave the house right away. At the same time, Megumi felt the need to use the bathroom, and the bathroom was down a long hallway. And when she opened the bathroom door, she froze because she sees a white snake sitting on top of the toilet flush. Seeing that, Megumi quickly shuts the door, and right then, Miko came up and casually asked if she saw a snake in there. Now when she went back in to check again, everything looked completely normal. After using the bathroom, Megumi came out and saw the spirit of Miko's grandfather. She ignored it and went back to Miko, asking what happened to Takeshi. Miko told her that Takeshi was extremely abusive, but just then, Megumi's husband called again, saying that he was coming to pick her up because the storm had started and she shouldn't be coming home alone. Right after the call, Megumi noticed wet footprints in the hallway. She followed him and ended up in a dark room. There she sensed an energy and it felt incredibly negative. That's when Miko entered and told her that this was the room where Takeshi had hanged himself after loan collectors had started harassing Takeshi non-stop. Then suddenly, Takeshi's evil spirit appeared right in front of Megumi and terrified her. That's when Megumi realized that whatever curse was in this house, it was way too powerful. She immediately told Miko that she needed to do the ritual the doctor had mentioned before it was too late. But Miko said that she didn't want to do the ritual. She claimed that she was fine just the way she was. And she also admits that she killed the snake on purpose, not out of fear, but because she wanted to feel powerful, just like her grandfather. The way he used to hurt her, she wanted to know what it feels like to do the same. Hearing all this shook Megumi, but thankfully her husband arrived just in time and she rushed out of the house. After she left, we see Miko's bag and it was covered in massive rash, showing that the snake's curse has now fully taken over her. Now the next day, Megumi started offering eggs to the snake spirit at home, hoping it would help Miko and in the end save her life. And she did that every day for 28 days. But on the 28th day, something weird happened. Megumi suddenly felt this strange urge and she ended up eating the raw egg in front of her kids. When she snapped out of it, she realized that the curse didn't want her to break it or help Miko. Still, Megumi didn't give up. Finally, the 30th and the last day came, but she ran out of eggs. That evening, she went out to buy more, but before she could even enter the house back, the eggs she was carrying cracked on their own. Confused, she looked up and saw that her front door was already open. Inside, there was broken eggs scattered everywhere. Then she started searching in her house and someone was definitely in there. As she went to check, she found Miko standing in a really strange way. Miko looked at her and told her to mind her own business. And just like that, she turned completely evil and attacked Megumi violently. Megumi barely managed to shut the door in time and escaped outside, but it became clear that the curse wasn't going to let itself be broken so easily. Just then, Megumi's husband and kids come home. Megumi saw the white snake slither out of her house and disappear, and her husband quickly searched the entire place but found nothing. Then he comforted Megumi and brought her back inside, and that night Megumi finally completed the ritual. A few days later, she received a message from Miko thanking her. Miko had gotten into a university and it was all because the ritual Megumi had done. It meant the curse had lifted and Megumi actually saved her. Her husband had always been super supportive throughout her life, and even though Megumi could see spirits, her life had managed to stay relatively normal, and that's where the story ends. So this was the recap video on the last 4 episodes of the series Tsukisoi. And I hope you have liked this video. If you have, then please subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up. I really need your support to grow further. If you want to watch this series, there's a link to my Telegram channel in the description box. If that link does not work, just go to Telegram and put my channel's name in the search bar. How and when you can find it on Telegram will be revealed on the channel, so go join that. I'm mostly active on Insta, so you can follow me there as well and look into my other channel where we discuss about the mysteries of the world. All the links are in the description box. For now, I'll see you all in the next one. Till then, stay awake, because they always see you